Remember earlier I told you to keep in mind how Rose commented on the black smoke and how it sounded familiar to her, like her home in the Bronx, New York. Well, in the 23rd Psalm, I think it was, the voiceover commentary on the DVD, one of the producers confirms that one of the sound effects of the monsters, the chitter sound, is in fact from a receipt printer in a New York taxi cab. And although that's one of the sound effects, they made sure to note that the black smoke has nothing to do with the New York taxi cab. This sound is also in the scene when Nikki's bitten by the spider, when Hurley fires a flare gun after they find Naomi, and also when Ben asks Jack if he believes in God. Okay, now for defenses against the monster. It seems like there's only 3 ways to defend yourself, or for Velocities to defend themselves when they're facing the monster. Obviously, the sonic fence stopped it from attacking Juliet and Kate, and then also hiding in the roots of banyan trees seems to create like a safeguard for them, even though the black smoke can still see them. And then just facing the monster without fear sometimes seems to keep them safe too, although this doesn't happen all the time for them. Remember at the beginning of this video I mentioned that one of the names of the monster is Cerberus. Well, if you remember the blast door map that Locke sees when he gets trapped underneath the door, there are several cryptic notations that describe a system called Cerberus. And there's also 4 different spots on the map that have the letters CV on them. The producers of Lost confirmed at Comic-Con in 2007 that Radinsky and Kelvin, if you remember, those are the 2 people that were in the hatch before Desmond pushing the button, referred to the monster as Cerberus, and that they referred to CV as Cerberus vents, and this most likely refers to the vents that the monster tries to, the holes that he tries to pull Locke down into. In Greek and Roman mythology, Cerberus was the 3-headed watchdog of Hades who permitted spirits to enter the underworld and prevented them from leaving. And only a few people ever got by Cerberus. One of them was Hercules. And there are some similarities between the Black Smoke and the Guardian of the Underworld. Just as I talked about, the Black Smoke dragged Locke down a hole, aka a Cerberus vent, inferring that it can travel far below the surface. And we know that the Black Smoke is a security system to protect the island, and that Cerberus, a 3-headed watchdog, was a security system to protect the underworld. And then also when Juliet and Kate encounter it, remember it emerged from the jungle as 3 separate clouds of smoke and came together as one. The mythological Cerberus had 3 heads as well. Back to the blast door map, it mentions a catastrophic malfunction of the Cerberus system, Cerberus activity, and there's other mentions to it. Okay, now for the theory part of this video. First I'm going to start with the question that was asked on Yahoo Answers by Damon, who's one of the producers. And it was just a question asking what everyone thinks the Black Smoke is and what's their theory as to what it is. And then a few days later, he and Carlton, one of the other producers, picked their favorite answer. Okay, and here's the answer they liked the best. I think the monster was a highly advanced security system designed to separate participants in experimental Dharma hatches. I think it was an effect that was designed to frighten people, like smoke and noise, if they strayed too far from their experiment location, a bit like Wizard of Oz. However, the electromagnetic force mutated it, in the same sense as Desmond experienced time travel and can now see the future after exposure, and made it malevolent and able to physically grab things in its force, like Echo, the pilot, and Locke. So in theory, it may be able to be deactivated if they can find the control room for it, which would be another hatch somewhere yet undetected. And this is the reason why they chose the answer. We have chosen our favorite answer, not that it's the right answer, sorry, but we can't be really giving away the ultimate secrets of the monster quite yet. The answer we selected might be somewhat right, totally right, or completely off base, but we liked it and found it very cool and intriguing. Thanks. Okay, now for some theories about Smokey's origin. It might be that Cerberus is the name of the Dharma security station meant to ensure the safety of the Dharma initiative from the hostiles. The monster was a creation of the station, whose job it was to analyze people it found and determine if they were a threat, and kill them if they were. However, an incident occurred in which the Dharma initiative lost control of the monster, which began to act on its own accord, and the sonic fence was built to protect the initiative from the rogue monster. Or maybe Smokey was the real experiment of the Dharma initiative, the reason they were there, It might have been designed to improve people one by one in order to change the course of the human race for the better. But it's broken free, causing the others to build a sonic fence. A popular theory used to be that the monster is actually an extremely advanced entity made up by millions of nanobots, kind of like a swarm, kind of similar to the one in Prey by Michael Crichton. But this theory was dismissed by Damon in one of his podcasts. However, he said that doesn't mean it couldn't be an organic swarm or even supernatural, and he also said that it depends on how you define nanobot. The monster also seems to be solid, even though it looks like black smoke, because it physically grabs people, uproots trees, and is affected by dynamite. Another really popular theory is that the black smoke is actually a creature called a jinn, or a genie, or a jinni, whose existence on the island predates even the Black Rock. And if you go on Wikipedia and search for the word genie, or jinni, you'll see a lot of connections to the smoke monster and the island's mythology. For instance, the word jinn literally means hidden or veiled from sight. Jinn are beings possessing free will and the ability to be good and bad. And a jinn's natural form is composed of smoke. Jinn can appear in the shape of any being. They often take on human and animal shapes to influence people, often leading them astray by appearing in the forms of people who are dead. Supposedly, jinn move extremely fast and are not bound by the time and space constraints that we normally move in. Strength of faith will prevent jinn from harming a person, kind of like how the black smoke doesn't harm Locke at first. And jinn are said to be controllable by binding them to objects. Remember the circle of ash that Ben told Locke not to touch. Remember how the monster Siamey had that ash all over him? It could also be just remains from the smoke. And it's funny, Mikhail or Patchy, before Lost, his most notable role was a jinn in the film Wishmaster. Now for its purpose, Danielle tried to make it really clear to us that it is a security system. Talking of an island defense system implies that there really is something worth defending on the island. As we already know, the creature's sole purpose could just be to judge. And in Lost the Answers, the producers mentioned judgment in association with the monster. Seth the pilot and Echo are the only two killed from the monster as of now. We know Seth wasn't supposed to be there, as Frank was supposed to be, and Echo was never supposed to not feel bad about what he has done. Seems like it could be course correction. The popular time loop theory suggests that the monster is just a physical means in which the timeline course corrects itself, and that if anyone were to go to the past to change the future, which it suggests that Ben and the others have, that the monster will step in when the preset timeline is about to be altered. Another idea is that Smokey is a cloud of metallic or magnetic particles that are moved by a machine traveling through tunnels underground. The underground machine, which must be moved on tracks, focuses on the electromagnetic properties of the island to keep the monster elevated. This explains why it was tugging Locke down a hole. This also explains why it was unseen for so long after it had the dynamite thrown at it. The others probably had to repair the system. It also explains why Rousseau knew that they were positioned in a certain place. If they were positioned in that place, it wouldn't attack them because they're out of the path of the tunnel. It also explains why it could not go over the sonic barrier and why trees are pulled out because their roots are stand in the way of the underground machine. And then of course the machine sounds it makes like it's being pulled on a track. The smoke can also not fly freely, as it was questioned in one of the podcasts, why can't the smoke just fly over the sonic barrier? And Carlton said it's because the monster can't completely detach itself from the ground. But to me it definitely seems like the monster has a consciousness or is being controlled by someone with a consciousness. I don't think it's purely machine, as it's able to target specific people and act like how it wants to. It also has humanistic qualities, as I mentioned earlier, with being sarcastic. And I think it's either its own being or controlled by another being or by a higher power. Okay, now those are just some of the theories and ideas as to what the monster can be. Now before I end here, I just want to talk about the whispers in relation to the monster. They can be heard right before both of Echo's encounters with Smokey, and also many times right before a manifestation appears. It's very possible that the whispers are directly related to the monster. Okay, and that's everything to be known about the Black Smoke Monster as of now. According to Damon, quote, a new dimension of Smokey, the monster's mercurial nature, will be revealed. Last rule is that you learn something new about the monster whenever it appears. And he says this will happen in episode 9, so since we'll be seeing it next episode, hopefully this video gives you like a better understanding of what the monster just might be. Interested in what you guys think it might be. I probably missed something, so let me know. I'll see you in a week, and God bless.